That's one lost opportunity.
Why are you calling me, and who are you?
Let's see if she can recover.
You haven't given them the benefit. You just told them to do a thing.
This is a perfect setup.
The truth of the matter is, and everyone listening, I think you guys need to understand this.
And I'll show you what the other lost opportunity is. Cash call, everybody. Dale Archdeacon, Brian Curtis, back again. It's been a while. We took a little bit of a break there, Brian.
We did. It's, never boring. Always lots of stuff going on. And between your stuff going on and my stuff going on and a Super Bowl and every other thing on the planet, it's been good. But we're back, and I'm ready to help people make some better phone calls. How about that?
Yeah, in fact, everybody, Brian was so excited for the Eagles that he decided to have a green background. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Brian, for supporting the Philadelphia Eagles in their Super Bowl win. Good job, sir.
I want to say for the record, I'm from Buffalo, so basically anybody who beats the Chiefs, I have to root for. So,
Well, that works, right? Excellent. Okay, I have a call for us today. This agent was calling around her open house, which is great. She actually runs across some opportunity here, and I wanted to show this call because we don't play this type of call that often. You have to make a lot of them for them to be productive typically. But this one was productive, which was great. And I think that this agent could have done a little bit more to capitalize on it. I'll tell you guys how I think she could have capitalized on it more.
Sounds good.
Hello? Hi, this is, I was just calling to invite you to an open house in your neighborhood tomorrow. It's at Carter. Do you know where that's located?
All right. So great script so far, right? Clean. Straight in the front door, no BS.
I like it.
Okay, that's you're selling a house around my house? Yeah, it's around. And you want me to go to the open house? Just wanted to see if you'd like to come by and check it out and just kind of see how it matches up to your house. And if you know anyone looking, just bring them along so they can take a look as well.
Okay. Yeah, good, right? I wasn't quite sure what the homeowner was getting at when she was like, you want me to come to an open house near my house? And I think the agent was prepared for whatever. Yeah, I want you to come by.
I was just going to say the same thing. I mean, she might have been a little more clear that could have helped that, but once the question was asked, I thought she did a great job going, yeah, no, this is what I'm doing. I'm doing an open house. You're a neighbor. I'd love to come by and see. And so maybe a different intro script that would, hey, I'm calling people. I'm doing an open house at 123 Main Street on Sunday between 2 and 4. And we're inviting the neighbors, and we'd love to maybe just a little bit more clarity on the front end of that so that the person isn't confused.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. So you can really clear up a lot of confusion sometimes, depending on what the call is, with the front end intro script.
Yes. Why are you calling me? And who are you? Is important today, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So we teach those three things for basic intros. Who are you? Why are you calling me? What do you want? And then sort of an advanced level, what you're talking about would be like, why should I give you that information? Or why is this information important to me? What result am I going to get from it? So you can bake those into your intro too. Like Brian's saying, that's essentially what he's saying is make your intro stronger so it answers some additional questions that they otherwise are going to ask you anyway.
I want to say why this was funny. We were doing role play with my team this morning, and I want to say why this is more important today than it was 5 years ago. Because today I've gotten a call for a student loan I never had. I got a thing for a car, and they're going to give me car insurance or car warranty for a car I sold 3 years ago. We get these calls 24 hours a day now, it feels like, and I want to know right up front who I'm talking to because I'm really not interested in talking to most of these people my name off a list. So what we want to say is I didn't buy your name off a list. I have an actual reason to call you. This is what it is. Oh, okay. And that's not going to get you 100% in the door, but it's going to eliminate a lot because there's a lot of telemarketers out there nowadays. So.
Yeah. And then I'm going to tack on to the end of that, why you should care and what you're going to get out of it.
Amen.
Let's go back to this. So we're doing great so far.
Okay, and tomorrow at what time you said? I'm sorry. 2 to 4. I can send you a text just to remind you. Okay, and with the address. Yeah. Well, with the address. Are you know anyone looking right now? I have like 2 people.
Good job. Now listen to the answer. I have 2 people.
People that have been asking me if they know they're selling around the house, so I can just forward the information to them. Okay. The seller, he's very motivated. So they've already moved out, so they're ready to make a deal. So just tell them to come by from 2 to 4. But I'll send you the text so that you'll have the information. Did you happy with your house right now? Oh yeah, I am. I've actually done a lot of stuff to it. Yes.
She's trying to go for a double here, right?
I love the aggressiveness.
Yeah.
One thing I might have been more aggressive on, and I don't know, it's kind of a gray area. Hey, I understand you're probably a busy person. If you want to give me those people's phone numbers, I'd be happy to reach out and do an invite for them.
Yeah.
First of all, we have no idea if this woman's actually ever going to call anybody. And not
Right.
because she's lying, but because life happens, right? Like, how many
Yeah.
things did you forget to do this week? I don't know because I forgot them, but there's some of them, right?
Yeah.
So, we're not a high priority. Hey, I'm sure you're busy. If you just give me their name and phone number, I'll be happy to give them a call for you. Now, realistically, what, 20% of the time they'll give you that information, but that's a good 20%.
Yeah, I think that you can even make that better. What I would do on this call, and I wouldn't do it right now. I would wait until I was going to wrap up, but I would be like, "Hey, Brian, can you do me a favor? Can you copy me on a text to your friends who were asking? Because then I can give them the information directly and also possibly send them a few other houses in the neighborhood."
Perfect.
I would ask you to connect me on a text, which people
I
will.
like that three-way text. It gives that person control, and it doesn't feel like you're. I don't know. It feels safer. I don't know a better way to say that. It feels safe.
Yeah. More people will do that than just straight out give you the number. That's one lost opportunity because she doesn't come back around to it and you'll hear it. And I'll show you what the other lost opportunity is.
Did you happy with your house right now?
Oh yeah, I am. I've actually
Okay,
done a lot of stuff
good.
to it. Yes,
Good. So do you know how much it's worth? Do
I
you know the
really
value of it?
don't know.
Uh-huh.
I think she did a great job here. I might have been a little more like, "Hey, have you thought about making a move?" Which, that would have been a no. Instead, she said, how about your home? Are you really happy with it? And she's like, "Yeah, I'm really happy with my house." Then the agent asks, "Do you know how much it's worth?" Like, this is a perfect setup to at least get this woman into her database, right? And
Yes.
consuming her seller report or whatever. And I like the way that she approached it, which is, "Hey, are you happy with your home?" Most people, like, if people are asking you about moving into your neighborhood, you probably aren't going anywhere.
Yeah, you're excited about being in your own
Right.
neighborhood, so probably you don't want to move out of it, right? Hey, you should move into this neighborhood. I'm leaving. That
Yeah,
doesn't make sense.
exactly. So I think this was great so far.
You wanna? I can give you a quick value. You're on.
Now, as I'm listening to this, and she goes, "I can give you a quick value," I was like, "Oh, please, God, don't do it. Don't give her a number over the phone. Just don't do it. Listen,
Hold on one second. Let me just look and see what it is.
she's gonna do it."
And are you a realtor?
Yes, I am. I am,
Oh, okay.
and so I'll be doing the open house tomorrow. And
Okay.
this is saying this is giving the mid 200s, but
I was like, "Oh God, she did it. Let's see if she can recover." Like, first of all, don't ever give anybody a value over the phone unless they hold your feet to the fire, in which case you're just going to give a range.
Yep.
Don't give the number over the phone, right? You want to be able to meet with this person. You want to see their house. You want to like give them more information, or at least get them to, let you email them or send the report to you or send the CMA to them.
Well, and especially in this scenario, because first of all, even if you're 100% right, who cares? This person's not selling their house, so there's no upside to doing this. So to me, what I'm looking at is, hey, by the way, I sounds like you love your neighborhood, and yeah, obviously you got friends who want to move in here. And we also know that over time stuff may change. I'd love to I've got this really great report. I use HomeBot. There's a million different ones, but I got this great report that shows you different things going on. Some people look at it for refi. Some people just love to know what's going on in the neighborhood. And I'm just gonna, if you don't mind, what's the best email for me to send this to you at? And then just send it to them, because this is a nurture at best anyway. Don't miss the opportunity to nurture by being too aggressive. We rarely tell people not to be too aggressive. This person sounds like they're being too aggressive. So
Yeah, I think she's just not seeing the opportunity here, kind of shooting herself in the foot by floating a number over the phone.
like you said, you've done a lot of work to it. It's hard to tell. They don't have the numbers that we get. You can get a more accurate number if I
Yeah,
kind of
once
take
they
a look
come and
at it and
appraise it
kind
and
of see
all
what
that
your
stuff.
upgrades are. So you're not looking to sell or anything right now?
Oh no, right now I'm not.
Oh, good. That's a nice area, convenient to everything. I've done a couple of open houses over there, so I don't blame you. I'd like to stay too. But if you can get a neighbor by you, that'd be great with it. Someone close by, one of your friends.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, I will text you, Susan. I'll just text you the information, and hopefully, you guys can make it. And I can meet you guys in person. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. See you tomorrow.
All right. So as we identified, she could have otherwise gotten the connection to the friends via mutual text or even, like you suggested, asking for the phone number. So that's lost opportunity 1. And I think that really lost opportunity 2 is that we didn't get her email address at least, if not a face-to-face, because now what are you stuck with? You can only call her. So what are you going to call her about? You got to wait for another open house or something.
If the person who did this is listening to this, my suggestion is eventually that house will sell, and then you can call her then. Hey, Dale, this is Brian. We spoke a couple weeks ago and about the open house. I just wanted to give you a heads up because I think a lot of times people that house is under contract now. And of course, you need permission to give the price if it's not actually closed. But ultimately, yeah. And we sold it for $237,000. Just thought I'd let you know, and and then you could go back in and now you found a reason to. But I agree, there was a missed opportunity there for sure.
Yeah, definitely. What Brian said is fix it if you can, right? Get that email address or get that face-to-face. Brian, what do you have for us today?
I think it's kind of been a theme that we've done recently, at least on the calls that I've been playing. This isn't a bad call, and huge opportunity here to look at the way that we're explaining what we call exclusive buyer agency agreement, EBA in our state. I mean, buyer broker. There's a million different versions of what people call it, but we have to explain this now, and we have to explain it, but also sometimes we make it more difficult by explaining it. Like first time home buyer, hey, there's a form that we have to sign before we go in, and all it does is explain blah 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 blah. Okay, great. When we start making it too big, then it becomes too big. And so I think that's something that I think a lot of people need to take a look at. And between you and I, this has gone a lot smoother than I thought. I mean, I had some pucker August 18th, like, oh my God, this is going to be a nightmare. And it's gone better since then. But anyway, so that's the call I'm going to do.
So you are interested, you're kind of beginning the home search, and you have a property that you're interested in seeing in Gentry. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. And can you give me that address again, just so that I can pull that up and see if it is still available?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
The address is
Gentry, Arkansas. Okay. Let me take a look here really quick. And just double check that it's still available. What do you like most about that property?
What I want to say that I like what he's doing here. I'm not a huge fan of asking the client for the property again, because theoretically you should have had it in front of you the way the system works. But what I do like is we're continuing a conversation. Nothing frustrates me more, and I know this does to you too, Dal, is when somebody is looking for a property and all you hear is click, 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 click on the keyboard, and there's silence. Because in case you guys don't know, that 10 seconds of silence that you're putting that client through feels like an hour and a half to them. Yeah. So he's doing that, but he's continuing the conversation. What did you like about that house? So if you're going to look stuff up, ask a question, look it up. Don't just, hey, I'll be back in 5 minutes. That's frustrating to the people. They don't want to sit there and wait. So I thought you did a good job with that.
The layout of it. The layout. Okay.
Yeah.
And how important is location to you on that? Are you looking to be in Gentry area, or are you open to other possibilities?
Gentry area, really good answer for that.
Okay. No, that's great to know. Let me, all right. It does appear to still be available.
Fast forward a little bit here.
We'll go ahead and look to see.
So basically what happened, the part I'm going to skip through, is he said, yes, that's available. He works with his wife. His wife's going to show the property. So they set an appointment for 2:00, and that's kind of where we're at here.
But this should be fine to be able to see it today at 2. So have you spoken with a lender on financing yet at this point?
No.
Okay. So the other thing I would like to do for you guys is get you in touch with a lender to get pre-approved and see what.
I want to teach people listening something right now.
Please.
I can immediately improve your sales if you first do a trial close or a test, right? So the guy said, have you spoken to a lender? She said no. He said, I want to connect you to a lender. he can head off objections and issues or even a no from this person by simply asking one more question before he says, I want to connect you. Do you have a lender in mind that you would use? Right? Just asking that one question will help to delay or defer or uncover some other objections that might pop up. And I'm sure there are other things that you could do. It seems like you had another idea in there, Brian, that wasn't quite what I said.
No, I love that idea, actually. And I think it's great when we do that. I like to. So this is a first-time home buyer. There's no delusion in my mind that this person is going to pay cash. So in this case, I would use the exact script that Dale said. If I'm talking to a more sophisticated buyer, guy looking, this person's looking at a $150,000 house. If I'm talking to somebody looking at a $600,000-$700,000 house, I'm going to ask them this before I ask that other question is, out of curiosity, are you guys planning on paying cash or are you going to finance? The reason I ask that is, you're talking to somebody, use some awareness on the phone. Like, there are people that you can tell. I'm not saying that you can say, oh, this guy can pay cash, this guy can't. But, hey, I've worked at such and such a job for the last 30 years and I'm the VP of blah, blah, blah. That guy might pay cash. You don't ask that guy if he's pre-qualified because that guy's going to get pissed off at you. And so using, some judgment there. But with this case, I love exactly what Dale said.
In the way of financing, reason being, having that step or that piece in place empowers you when you're out looking and we're out looking for property, that if you do come across the right things for you and your family, that you can go ahead and pull the trigger on that. Because when we make an offer on a house, we're going to send to that seller a pre-approval letter that just shows that you have the funds and the financing in place to make that purchase.
So I like the reasoning. One of the things I think people don't do enough is give the buyer a reason to get pre-qualified. They're really just saying you have to get pre-qualified or otherwise da-da-da-da-da. He's giving the buyer a reason to actually get pre-qualified. Hey, if you find that perfect house out there and you're ready to make the offer, you want to be ready so that you don't have to wait. I really appreciate that. I think all too often we tell people what we know, and we're right. I'm not saying that you're not wrong, but the buyer/seller doesn't understand the benefit of doing it, and they're not excited about it because you haven't given them the benefit. You just told them to do a thing. Fast forward this a little bit more, and we're going to start talking about agency here in a second.
So one of the things that is newer in our industry, it's really not new. This is a form that has always been signed as part of the process of purchasing a home. The only thing that's changed is as of August, we have to get this particular form signed by you and by us as agents right up front. And it's called the exclusive buyer agency agreement. And basically what that does is it up front, it tells you as the buyer who all the people are that are part of this transaction and how the whole thing works. So basically it's going to let you know that, hey, we work for you. We don't work for the seller. It also explains, okay, so we're working for you. How do we get paid in this transaction? In that case, the form that you'll sign, it lets you know that our compensation comes from the seller. It does not come from you. So when we go through the buying process and we actually close at the end, it's already built in for the seller to pay our commission.
Okay. So Dale's shaking his head. I picked this call because I think Dale should shake his head. So Dale, what's your thoughts about maybe a better way to handle something like this? Because this isn't a train wreck. Like, it still works out. And it's not going to be the model of how to do it moving forward.
No, and my understanding is that in almost all of the states, the settlement specifies that we have to clearly articulate what our compensation is to a buyer, regardless of who pays it.
Yeah, and I don't even want to hear and the seller's going to pay it. Because does that happen 99% of the time? Yeah, it does. Yeah. And this guy's a very honest guy. He's not trying to lie. He's just going with what normally happens, not what can happen. We need to explain what can happen in a way that's digestible to the client.
Yeah. So we have a very basic script, and here's how it goes. Hey, Brian, how familiar are you with what real estate agents now have to do in order to show any property listed on the MLS?
I heard I got to sign some forms before I go see a house.
Yeah, pretty much everything is the same, except now we just have a disclosure that we have to get signed that says what happens if you buy this house, how long you and I would work together, and how I would get paid as your agent. Does all that make sense?
Yeah, I think I want to know that stuff.
Okay, great. I'm going to send it over to you to take a quick look at. If you have any questions between now and when we go see the house, please let me know. Otherwise, I'll just have you sign it. And if you do have questions, I can explain it to you at the door before we even go in.
Perfect. And that's a great, easy script. You notice that Dale didn't say anything like exclusive buyer agency agreement. You know why Dale didn't say that? Because that scares the shit out of me. I don't know what that is, but holy shit. Buyer broker agreement? Oh my God, what the hell is that? You know?
No fancy industry language.
Before they even read the damn form, right?
Right. And you'll notice a couple things I did. I led with a question, and it was a leading question. Brian, what do you know about what real estate agents are now required to do before showing any homes listed on the MLS? Which means you go talk to somebody else. They're going to have to do this too, right?
Listen to the language. Required. It presupposes that it's required for everybody, and that's what people will hear. There's now a required form. It makes sense. And all of a sudden, and I'm firmly, it's funny. I don't know how you felt about this, Dale, but I was concerned that our agents may not have, or maybe not going to perform at a high enough level with this new got to get a buyer agency thing.
Right.
And what I found is because of the fact that it's now required, it gives the agent a confidence, and it's amazing. So it really comes back to, if you are confident, it's amazing what you can have happen. Imagine if they spoke as congruently on August 16th as they did on August 18th about this form. On August 16th, I would have said, hey, we require that everybody signs this form before we actually show property. It's a situation where it covers who gets compensated in the transaction. By the way, we have a zero cancellation policy. So at any point in time, if you're not happy with my service, you can go ahead and fire me. With that in mind, before we do this, I just need to go over this form. Bam. And now on August 18th, I can say, you have to sign this or I can't show you the house.
Right.
And that's really the only difference, is the delivery and the confidence that I delivered it with. Because here's the thing, Dale, can I show you a house without that form? I can.
Yeah.
What's going to happen? I might not get paid.
You might not get paid. Most likely nothing, but you might get fined.
Right. And the truth of the matter is, and everyone listening, I think you guys need to understand this, because I've corrected people on this on my team. It's now the law. It is not. That's not true. There is no law that states you have to sign a buyer agency agreement prior to going in the house. So stop saying that, because it's going to eventually bite you. We are required as agents now to get this form signed. That's fine. But there is no law that states that you have to sign that document. So if you're saying that, it's a falsehood.
True. Just like saying it always gets paid by the seller. That
right.
is
Again,
not
falsehood.
true. That's not true.
That wasn't always true prior to the settlement. I mean, I've been paid by a buyer directly without the seller compensating. It's only happened a couple of times, but yeah. So get away from these universals that bite you directly in the
Yeah,
hind.
exactly. It's really not that complicated. Most of the agents that we've worked with have just found it, now they got their legs. Now they're just operating more professionally, and they're having more of a professional conversation up front. Like any attorney who says to you, hey, I'd love to work with you. No advice until we have an engagement letter signed, right? Same kind of concept. Here's what's going to happen. Here's how I get paid.
Hopefully it'll make us better and continue to make us better as an industry, because the truth of the matter is too many people were walking around giving things away. I'm also happy to see, and at least in my experience, that it hasn't been a race to the bottom. I thought it was going to be a race to the bottom, but it hasn't been. It's funny, I made a new policy on my team the other day that we mandate that I don't care. You don't even need to talk to the listing agent anymore. Just put in seller agrees to pay 3% of the purchase price towards buyer agency fees. Put that in your contract, and then we'll negotiate from there. And it's funny though, because there's still like this concept. I saw a full price offer the other day that they went from 3% to 2.5%. That was the only counteroffer. And I was like, I said to the agent, go back and get the 3%. He's like, what do you mean? I said, go back and get it. I said, this is a mindset, because the seller basically got an amazing freaking offer. What is 0.5% of $300,000? $1,500. Am I doing that math right? It's not a lot. And yet they're fighting over this. And so I will say this, and I know we got off on this weird tangent. Make sure you're selling the other agent on selling your commission to the seller. That was a whole bunch of selling. But hey, I'm going to give you an offer. It's going to be a full price offer, and I expect to get a 3% commission on that. Please do not counter that. My buyer is going to pay 3%, whether that's from me or from the seller, or whether it's from them or from the seller. And if it's from them in some portion, they're going to reduce their offer. Just wanted to let you know that. Please let your seller know that. Give the person the ammunition to do it, because it's funny. I've literally watched the seller take $5,000 less because the commission was only 2.5 instead of 3. Well, do the freaking math. But it's this mentality, and we've got to get past that mental block. As a salesperson, you don't get to talk to that seller, but you get to talk to the agent. Make sure you're selling them on why they should pay you a full commission.
That all makes sense. All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed today's episode with Dale and Brian on Cash Call, and we will see you guys next time.
Thanks, Dale.
Hey, if you thought that training was helpful and you want to get more, and you want to know about our training and coaching systems, just click on the link in the description and check out our Appointment Accelerator training. It is the best way to sample what we do and get a real taste of how our training works, so that you can see if it works for you and whether you'd like to do any one of our longer programs. Thanks.